After a very long 3 years, Stranger Things Season 4 Part 1 is out on Netflix. It was released yesterday, and yesterday was just the craziest day for TV overall, but I finally finished the show. I binged almost all the episodes in one day. I watched the first 5 yesterday, as well as Kenobi, and then watched the last 2 today. Here I am to review it. I won't say any spoilers, anything like that, but I do recommend just watching the show and coming up with your own opinion before listening to anybody else's. I haven't read any reviews, I haven't watched anything like that. I assume people really enjoyed, but I don't really know. But in this season, while still reeling from the events of last year, the gang tries to move on with their lives. However, a threat is brewing both on Earth and the Upside Down. Now, you'd expect at this point that they'd kind of figure it out and move out of Hawkins, but no, only some of the characters moved out in the last season. Obviously, I won't say all of that because some people watching this may not have watched any bit of the show, but go check it out. It is one of my favorite shows of all time, and I was interested, but also very skeptical on what they were going to do in this season. Not because I thought it was going to be bad. I was just like, what are they going to do at this point? Because they've done so much, and season 3 was just massive. I mean, I still remember binging the first 2 seasons finally before I checked that one out, and just loving all 3 of them. I love season 1. Season 2 was very good. It wasn't as good as the first one, and then season 3 was just incredible as well. It was just as good as season 1, and I think this season is just as good as the first and third season. Again, I don't really know how I would rank them fully because it has been 3 years since I've seen those other ones. I didn't have the time to rewatch them before then, and yes, this is just part 1 of the season. There are lots of things that we still, we have a second part. That's all I'll say that's coming, and that's how you can really give a full review on the season. But of course, I mean, we got 7 episodes. We got many hours here to talk about because almost every single episode, I think it averages around like an hour and 15 minutes. Some are a little bit shorter, but episode 7 is an hour and 40 minutes. And I don't know how long episode 8 will be, but I know episode 9, the ones that haven't been released, is 2 hours and 30 minutes. So a lot of stuff will go down. But for everything that has happened here, I really enjoyed it. Again, I love this season. I think this season is amazing for many reasons, but one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing besides the characters, is how the horror elements are just added up more and more and more. We kind of saw more horror in the earlier parts of the show, but here the influences are clear, but I don't mean that in a bad way. This takes major influence from A Nightmare on Elm Street. Cool things if you like that movie, and I won't say anything more, but still, there's a lot of influence from that, and for me, that was really like the first horror movie I saw that got me into horror, or at least the slasher genre. So seeing it here, it is amazing. I don't think it takes too much from it. I don't think it takes too little. I just think it takes the perfect amount here. And the Duffer brothers really just continue to create such a unique vision. Like their style is, I know there's been a bunch of different directors here, but their style, it feels like a mix of like a little bit of Edgar Wright, a little bit of Tarantino, like everything, a little bit of Wes Craven, all that kind of put into one, but still with their own unique style. I mean, I even see a little bit of like the Safdie brothers when I watch some of these episodes, and again, all that is in a good way because I love all those directors, and they do still create their own unique vision here, and this season is definitely darker, not only because of the horror elements, and I don't just mean with the colors, because the last season was very vibrant and bright with Starcourt Mall, but it explores some really deep themes, and there's some awesome new characters introduced here. Obviously, the big one that everyone will be talking about because he is awesome is Eddie, who 100% is based on Eddie Van Halen. The hair alone sells it, but the guitar, all that kind of stuff, and I love how he has like a Dio jean jacket on, and he's, I don't really want to say too much about this season. I was going to say there, but I don't want to say too much, but there's some crazy stuff that goes down with him and the rest of the gang, and because of the events of the last season, at least like the last episode there, some of them are split up, but I love the way they balance everything together with Hopper down in Russia and the gang being split up kind of across the country, and the ideas that some of these characters are growing apart from each other while some are staying close is just so cool, and it's done so well. I would say for the most part. I think in the second half of this first part of the season, some of the characters, I won't say who, are left out a little bit more as it focuses on the more important ones, you could say, when it comes to the story, which makes sense, but there were times where I felt some of the characters were lacking, but again, these are just mini problems for this show. It's one of my favorites of all time. Every season I've loved but had tiny problems with, and that's just a very, very small one. Also, again, we get lots of backstory with Elle, and sometimes it could be a tiny bit repetitive because we see a lot of the same images and stuff, but when certain things go down, it perfectly makes sense, and it's handled so well. I mean, to drop just 7 episodes and then make us wait a month or something for 2 more says that those last 2 will be insane, but there's so much that happened in these episodes. I'd say my favorite one is either episode 4 or episode 7. Those 2 probably just because they have the most going on, but it's just insane what everybody can come up with the show, because they always seem to outdo themselves with the crazy ideas, but it always works. I loved every single theme and element of the story in this season specifically. Again, I don't know how much I would compare it to the other ones because it feels different, but in a good way. It's not like the same thing is repeating over and over again. Oh, something else from the Upside Down is coming. I guess we have to stop it. Oh, we stop it. Like, it's nothing like that in this season. I think this is definitely the most different one so far, at least from memory. Keep in mind, I haven't seen it in 3 years, but I absolutely love this season. I cannot wait for part 2. When it comes to the episodes, I think the first one is very good, although it does take a slow start, but I think that's just our brain kind of getting used to these hour and 15-minute long episodes, which is like the average for the rest of the season, but they take their time to reintroduce the characters, and it works really well, although you do feel the length there, but as the show progresses, it really doesn't start to bother you. Episode 2 is great, episode 3 is great, episode 4 is just incredible. So much goes on. Even episode 5, after the insanity of that episode, it just doesn't lack, which I love about it. Episode 6 is pretty crazy, and then episode 7 is one of the craziest things I've seen in the past year when it comes to, how do I say this without spoiling it? Events that happened in the show. Not gonna say anything more than that. I absolutely love this season. Let me know what you thought of it down below. Stranger Things Season 4 Part 1 amps up the horror elements here, and it all works. The Duffer brothers prove that as exciting as all the action is, it really comes down to the characters. The progression in relationships and self-reliance is on full display here, plus the visual effects just get better and better. I cannot wait for Part 2. I'm going to give Stranger Things Season 4 Part 1 a 4.5 out of 5. Again, it's the same rating as Season 1 and Season 3, at least from memory, of course, but these are some of my favorite characters of all time now. It's just gotten to that point where I continue to love them even more and more. I might make a video soon ranking the characters from this season specifically, just because I love them. They are so awesome. There is not a weak link here. All the acting is amazing. The reason I don't go into it specifically is, 1, it could kind of like, my thoughts in it could spoil some things, and 2, there are so many characters and so many actors, and they're all so good here. But again, let me know what you thought of this season, or at least the first part of the season, down below. How excited are you for part 2? Because I will be counting down the days, because it's just gonna be so good. Thank you all for watching. I will see you guys next time. Over and out.